We don't know the beginnings of rap because as long as our music has been recording, people have been rapping.
The disco DJs separated themselves from us. We were the next generation coming up with this thing, and they were like, what's this little hippity hop thing?
The first time I heard somebody spit a 16 over a break beat was probably Melly Mel.
The Melly Mel sound that you hear today, I got that sound from Hollywood.
I was doing this same form of entertainment long before it had a name.
A lot of the gangs were fading out by the time hip-hop came in. A lot of those gangs turned into crews.
As far as influencing hip-hop, I saw no Puerto Rican or Jamaican influences whatsoever.
I started breakdancing in the 70s.
When rap and hip hop was all black, it was negative. Now that it became a big phenomenon and corporately acceptable, now there's this need to take foundational black Americans out of the creation of it and give it away to other people. And it's important for us to set the record straight.
If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics. Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you. And God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
All right, what's going on, guys? What is happening with everybody? Glad to have everybody in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have all of you wonderful people tuning in. But we're going to have to get deep tonight. We're going to have a deep conversation tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just waiting on you guys to pile on in the room. Hope you guys had a productive week so far. The week is almost done. It's almost the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. This week is going by pretty fast. It is what it is. What's up, HT, the Giga? Is that white supremacist? What's going on, HT? What's going on in white supremacist land? Let me talk to him real quick before I start cooking. All right, and watch your language. Watch your language. Don't come in talking crazy, using profanities and epithets. Talk like you got some sense and you act like you're not in a trailer park. HT, what's going on, man?
All right, I'm going to give you some names. Aaron Lopez, Moses Levy, Jacob Franks, Isaac Levy, Nathan.
Those are slave owners. I know those names.
Let me continue. Justin Bosch, John Abrams, Henry Kruger, Jacob Phoenix, Mordell Gomez, David Gomez, Mordecai Gomez, Nathan Martin.
Slave owners. Okay, these are slave owners. What's your point?
William DeWolf, James DeWolf.
Okay, we've established that those are slave owners. I know that those are the name of slave owners. Why are you bringing this up? Let's get to the point. Go ahead, HT. Why are you bringing up Jewish?
You cut me off when I was reading all the Jewish slave ships?
Right. I know that. I know that there were Jewish slave owners.
Isn't my connection messed up here? I'm going to come in on my phone here. I think it's my laptop. Hold on.
All right, what's your point, ma'am?
Can you hear me, Tariq?
I can hear you.
Obviously not. It's my phone. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. Lord. Now, this guy's a major white supremacist, but he likes to deflect on Jewish slave owners. Okay, what does that mean? So there were Jewish slave owners, there were Anglo slave owners, there were a couple of Asian slave owners. A lot of people came over here who were not black and became slave owners. So you're not saying anything phenomenal or profound, but they were all under the thumb of white supremacy. All right. So you're not wiggling out of that. You can try to deflect as much as you can try, but they were all under the thumb of white supremacy. They were all operating in conjunction with white supremacy. All right, HT, let's try it again. And we're not going to go too long with bad faith arguments. Right.
How come Ron DeSantis flew to Israel to pass a bill in Jerusalem
Uh-huh.
to make it a 5-year felony for me to pass out these flyers from gtvflyers.com and make it a hate crime? If white supremacists,
Because I want to answer that is because the white supremacists look at you as an off-code white supremacist. That's why. They look at you as an off-code white supremacist and you are a liability. We know that you're a white supremacist, but you're the cowardly off-code kind that just kind of crashes out because you have nothing to lose. So the dominant white supremacist society, they don't want to associate themselves with you because you put a spotlight on everything, which is what you're not supposed to do in the system of white supremacy now. Part of white supremacy now is denial. So, like you're trying to deny white supremacy, but you are white supremacists. You pass out white supremacist doctrines and flyers and stuff. So, you're not very good at hiding it. Also, you attack black kids. So, you do real cowardly stuff. I saw the video of you trying to fight some black kids in Atlanta. Where was that where you're trying to fight black?
you gotta get your facts straight. Me trying to fight little no,
Okay,
that's not what I do.
language.
No.
Well, why were you arguing with black children? What was that? Was that is Is that the Aryan God thing now? You guys have fallen so low. You
No,
got
no. What happened was there was a group of little babies crossing the street without using the crosswalk, and one of my friends called her, and the kid threatened to kill all the white guys. The cops didn't arrest the kids for terrorist threats, and you could thank those little babies because they raised 17 grand off of white guilt. So
good.
thank the white supremacists for feeding the mouths of yours again.
Yeah, and thank the police who's on the white supremacist code for not arresting you
Oh,
guys for hate crime. So they didn't
oh
do
no,
anything.
no, no, no. Here's what happened.
What happened?
Here's what happened. We actually were assaulted
What
out there. We were assaulted in Tennessee. The
about who?
guy who assaulted us, Diego Buck, that's his name, Diego Buck. You can look up the case. And you could also look up the case of that there are police officers exposing a child sex ring in the state of Nashville as well. So these police
Hold
officers,
on. Who's Diego Buck? Is that some white Hispanic guy? Who is that?
he's a mystery meets hybrid. That's what we call
That's white.
these Mexicans that are
That's white
Mex.
on white crime. Okay, that's white on white crime. So,
Why are you such a liar,
no,
though?
I'm saying no. You argue in bad faith and all of that N-word stuff. That's not offensive. We know how cowardly and weak of a white supremacist you are when you got to bark at kids. I mean that shows.
I didn't. I
Yeah, yeah,
technically
you
didn't.
did, you did. Yeah, we know how cowardly you are. And you're protected by the police. Some of your fellow travelers within law enforcement, you're protected by them. That's why they let you go out there and get away with all of that stuff. And you know not to do that around no grown brothers. You know not to do that. You know how come
There's video of me getting in the face of a 7-foot giant, calling him to
well
his
no,
face.
sir, that's an immigrant or somebody. That's probably some tether. You don't go around foundational Black Americans. You don't do it. I've seen your videos. You never go around a group of us doing that. You wait till the police are there to protect you to go and do your little troll.
Do you know why I use the word here? Do you know why?
Nobody cares because you're a white supremacist, but you know who to go around that with and who not to go around that with. And the fact that you run up on little children, that shows the kind of cowardly white supremacist you are. All right. So anyway, let me get some more people here because I don't want to get into bad faith arguments with a low level trailer park white supremacists. Let me get some more people. You know, I need to get back into what I was talking about. So yeah, that's HT. He's a white supremacist troll who's clicked, basically, many people believe he's clicked in with the police. Yeah, the police let him go around doing all of that white supremacist trolling, but he knows who to go around that with. You go around kids, you know, not to go around no G's. You know, you get stomped out with the police standing there, so you know what it is. But anyway, let me get to what I'm talking about, because there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about here. Listen, Eric Adams, ladies and gentlemen, they got Eric Adams. They're taking Eric Adams down. Eric Adams has an indictment. They're talking about possibly arresting him in the morning. If you're listening to the playback, it'll be the day of. So if you're listening to this on YouTube now, he's probably already in custody. But there's a sealed indictment. The information about the indictment, they're hush hush about it. They're gonna, I guess, release the information tomorrow when they arrest him. This would be the first time in New York history where they put charges and indictments on a sitting mayor. So you know they gotta, when it's something negative and crazy, they gotta make it a black first. They gotta put the black person in there. Um, this is interesting. Now, look, I'm not a big fan of Eric Adams, but we got to put everything in context. When you see prominent foundational Black Americans, men and women, getting broken publicly like this is sending a message. I want people to understand the message that's being sent. We got to get deep for a minute. We need everybody to pull up and let's put our thinking caps on here. Let's put our thinking caps on here. When the dominant society is targeting foundational Black Americans for these high profile takedowns, that's sending a message to the rest of us. They're signaling a message. And this is a lesson that many people who are Black in high profile positions, they need to understand what the game is about so that you don't make yourself susceptible to that kind of targeting. And this targeting is really reserved for foundational Black Americans. I want y'all to see this. If you notice, you don't see some of the non-FBA people getting targeted like this. You don't see too many high profile African or Caribbean immigrants or descendants of immigrants getting targeted like this. The very few high profile ones there are. But this is very significant. You know, with Diddy, um, Bill Cosby, now Eric Adams, and so many others, even in the political field. What's that sister, Cori Bush? The sister out there in Missouri. You know, the APAC people were kind of targeting her political career. So, as our good brother Professor Black Truth says, a lot of these people who try to play the game with the dominant society will end up breaking their tools. They will break their tools. And they're making an example out of people from our lineage. They're really making an example out of them. And this is going into the ethno side that we've been talking about, family. We better understand what an ethnocide is. When people are trying to do a soft genocide, they start with propaganda. The propaganda has to come first, and there's a major propaganda push. And we got to really, really, as foundational Black Americans, get on code about this. There's a reason why they're flooding this nation with immigrants right now. The immigration thing is a real big topic, and it's a desperate push to push all of these people on top of us. It's a desperate ass push. And this is why they seem very desperate not to let Trump in office with all of these assassination attempts on this guy. And I'm not caping for Trump, not a fan of Trump, but there's a reason they don't want him in office. And they feel like he's going to follow through with those immigration threats of deportation. You see? So this real hard push to drive our communities full of immigrants, that's part of the ethnocide. Because the people in our lineage, man, they understand that we, foundational Black Americans, we're the only people that has the spirit to topple unjust white supremacy. They know that. No other group has the spirit or the will to topple white supremacy. Why do you think these white supremacists are in here now, ladies and gentlemen? Look at them. Why do you think these white supremacists come into our spaces monitoring what we do? We got a white supremacist here now. Hold on. He has like caricature pictures of me. Let me have him on. What's going on, white supremacists? You don't have no material. All right. Okay. You have no material. You white supremacists are very corny and unfunny. And that's why your white women are using those mouths to bob down on soul pole. All right. But like I was saying, um, there's a major ethnocide that's happening right now. And there's a cultural erasure that's going on. They're really trying to erase our culture. And we got to really stand up against that. Again, like I said, with Eric Adams, not a big fan of Eric Adams, but they were doing an investigation on all of his colleagues and people like that. So people already knew something was going down, but to indict him, he's a sitting mayor. And the thing is with Eric Adams, he was playing the game and doing the bidding of the Democrats with the immigration thing. And after a while, he started speaking out against the immigration thing. He started speaking out against it. He started to kind of question what's going on because, he has a conscience to a certain degree. And that's the thing. When they put foundational Black Americans into certain positions, the white supremacists understand that foundational Black Americans, they can get off script at any time, just like with Diddy. In the recent years, Diddy was talking about, forming a Black political party. Diddy kind of waited too late to kind of start talking like the grassroots, but he did start talking like the grassroots. And, that's when, they had to go ahead and clip his wings when he started calling out certain entities he was working with for racism. And so, he's flipping. We got to get him up out of here. You see, when they put Black folks in certain positions, they love to get a tether. They prefer the Barack Obamas. They prefer the Kamala Harrises because they understand that these are tethers who will stay on script, and they're not going to get on code with us because they're not of our lineage. They're not going to get on code. Kamala Harris, we know Kamala Harris ain't going to do nothing for Black people and not have a guilty conscience about it. Because she's already said with her whole chest what she's not going to do for Black people. So we already know. So this whole cosplaying thing with Kamala Harris, we're not buying it. But the thing is, when it's a foundational Black American who they put in certain positions, they got relatives. You got family, cousins, brothers, uncles. You got some foundational Black American family members. So you're going to think in terms of what your family can get. Your spirit and your conscience is going to eat at you to make you try to do the right thing. And the dominant society, they know that. So that's why FBA tools, they have to be broken all the way down. This is why foundational Black Americans don't play that game with the dominant society. There's no retirement plan. If you want to play that game, you want to kind of be their Negro front person and do their dirty work for them, they're going to turn on you. They always do, especially if you're a foundational Black American. Tethers, they'll give the tethers a little leeway. They'll let them cook for a minute because the tethers are going to stay on code with the white supremacists against us. Many of them do, you see. But family, we got to get very serious about countering this ethnocide that's going on. Let me give y'all 10 things that we can do to counter this stuff because I don't like what's happening with Eric Adams. Again, I'm not a big fan of Eric Adams, but whenever I see the dominant society making an example out of a black person, they use them as a proxy, and they use that to set a precedent. So I can never co-sign that. But again, we gotta take responsibility too. The Eric Adams and these people should know when you get around the dominant society, you can't really play that game, because what they do, they'll let you play that game where you isolate yourself from black society, where you do all these things for all these other groups, further isolating yourself from black society. And they know that you're isolating yourself from black society. See, that's the kicker. They require you, if they want to put you in a certain position, to isolate yourself away from black society. But when you do that, you weaken yourself. And Claude Anderson used to tell us this all the time. When you try to be the only Negro in the room, that's a weak position, because you don't have any insulation power. Nobody's helping you. So if they decide to, you thinking, okay, I'm the only Negro in the room, so I'm going to get all the little Negro benefits that they got. So whenever they set aside their little minority program, ooh, I'm gonna reap all of that by myself. Ooh, I'm the chosen Negro. I'm the chosen one. But also, when they choose to throw you under the bus, you're going to be chosen for that too, and you ain't got no protection barrier. You see, you always got to think of in terms of protecting yourself, and you protect yourself with your ethnic group. You see, we got to get real big on our ethnic protections. So again, let me give y'all 10 things that we can do as foundational Black Americans to kind of protect ourselves from situations where we get thrown under the bus, we get attacked, we get targeted, and the dominant society just starts taking random Black people out and destroying them politically, financially, socially, and taking their freedom. For example, another example I'm going to use, Brother Marcellus Williams, who just got executed yesterday. You understand? And we're sitting up here not being able to do anything about it, because see, we got to start being on code with stuff like this, so that our innocent folks won't get targeted like that. But number one, the first thing we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, we got to start strengthening our foundational Black American networks. You always hear me talk about networking, networking, networking. That is so very important. I'm not talking about just getting together, smoking and drinking all the time. See, that's not really networking. Getting progressive minded, like minded people together and just getting to know who's who. Going places, setting up events where people can know who's who, so we can vibe, network, and interact with each other in person. We got to get out here and touch the grass. See, online is one thing, but most of the connections, you do that in person. And it's important for us to have these networks established. The second thing we got to do, family, we got to have political unity. See, we got to have political coalitions that's all lineage based. Everything we own, we got to be on some lineage based stuff. As foundational Black Americans, all of that, minority, people of color, disenfranchised, damn that. And don't feel guilty about it. Everything we need to do at this point should be lineage based. Everything. Reparations is just one. Everything should be based on lineage at this point. We should be talking about educational funding that's lineage based, housing funding that's lineage based, everything. And they can do it. Trump is talking about, if he gets in office, there's a tribe out there in North Carolina, the Lumbee tribe, and many of them have Black phenotypes, by the way, but he's talking about federally recognizing them, giving them federal recognition, because they've been fighting for federal recognition for a long time based on their lineage. And a lot of that has been denied because some of the members have the Negro phenotype. That's been a problem with the white supremacists dealing with the Lumbees, because many of them were reclassified as Negroes. So it was a whole big thing going on with the Lumbee tribe. But Trump is talking about giving them federal recognition. So lineage is very important. Lineage is very important. So we have to have political unity based on our lineage. You understand? So that people will not try to lump us in with all of this stuff, just like they keep trying to crowbar us into Kamala Harris's janky little lineage that nobody really knows about. People are doing deep dives into her lineage. It's confusing. It's all over the place. There's a grandmother that they said is died in the 60s, but then there's a picture of her in the 90s. It's too much confusion. All we know is it ain't our lineage. You understand? That just clears all of that up. It ain't our lineage. And we just got to start standing on that, man. We got to stand on that lineage thing. Number three, family, what we need to do, we need to focus on cultural preservation. This is why I always tell people, man, the culture, understanding our culture, preserving our culture, that's very, very important. Once you have your culture established, everything else will fall into place. So, us understanding our culture as foundational Black Americans, that's so, so very important. Documenting foundational Black American history from a local standpoint, from a national standpoint, really focusing on the achievements of foundational Black Americans and um, watching my films and watching other films that talk about the historic narratives of foundational Black Americans. Once you appreciate your cultural lineage, you will just instinctively fight harder to protect that lineage. The fourth thing, family, we need to focus on economic independence. See, we got to really support and build FBA owned businesses and ensure that a lot of FBA communities have the economic strength and independence they need. Um, with that, that allows the creation of wealth that can be invested and reinvested into FBA initiatives. So we got to really go out of our way to support some of our FBA entrepreneurs because we know that they get targeted. We know that they get targeted. Like Turkey Leg Hut, we've seen that they are about to really shut them down after they've been trying for years to target them. So we gotta go out of our way to support our entrepreneur class. It's very, very important. And the fifth thing, and this is very important in this political climate, immigration control advocacy. We gotta really say, hey, this immigration thing is a problem for foundational Black Americans. Don't let them shame us. Listen, we don't owe nothing to immigration. We don't have to sit here and share some camaraderie with immigration or nothing. No, no, we don't. We just don't. That don't benefit us. And when they get here, they ain't really rocking with us like that, not in no large numbers. And again, they're cool people who are immigrants. They're cool. But right now, we're talking about business and group business. And as a group, our business of allowing other groups of people who are looking out for their group, that doesn't help us. So we need to be all for tightening up these immigration laws so that folks are not over here flooding our communities. It's a bad thing. And I know there's a couple of people who want immigrant ass. You want to date you an immigrant, you want to date somebody from a third world. Okay, go to the Philippines somewhere and knock yourself out. But we can't have your sexual desires trump cultural and collective cohesion within the lineage. My thing is, how will the lineage turn out? How will we survive when people are trying to have an ethno um, cleansing of us? So we really got to be aware of these immigration laws and why these immigration policies are being used, and they're utilizing them to undermine us. And that's the long and short of it. Now, number six, ladies and gentlemen, what we have to do, you got to support FBA leaders who are on code, who are under attack. When a lot of FBA leaders get attacked, the community, man, we got to start rallying around people with legal, financial, and public support. We got to organize fundraisers, awareness campaigns, and social media initiatives that will counter the attacks for the ones who are on code. So this goes back into the folks who are off code. Like Eric Adams, he was on some, I'm gonna look out for the immigrants and all of that, and I ain't gonna say nothing for the black people who need stuff, even though the black people are asking me to say something. That's a mistake. You see how that is a mistake. You play that game. When they turn on you, you ain't got no base. So, and they know you ain't got no base. You understand? So Eric Adams, they're throwing him to the wolves now. I'm gonna give you another example of somebody who's prominent, who stayed on code, and when they tried to attack him, it didn't work because the community had him. Kyrie Irving. You see, Kyrie Irving has always been on code. This is a superstar basketball player. He wasn't on that, oh, I got mine, and the hell with everybody else. Kyrie Irving has done a lot of things for the community. And he was very conscious about Black history and our status and things of that nature. And that's one of the reasons why they wanted to attack him, is because of that movie he promoted. He promoted an Amazon movie about the Black Israelites, and then they wanted to attack him for sharing a damn Amazon link because he was sharing some knowledge. And then they wanted to attack the brother, and the Black community said, hell no, you're not going to do that. So the community backed them down off that nonsense. And our guy survived. In fact, Kyrie Irving, he was one of the executive producers on our film, Microphone Check. When we had the rally for reparations out there in DC, the first one, because that's when everything was going down. We had thousands of people out there chanting Kyrie Irving's name. The community had him locked in. So we weren't going to let him get thrown under the bus like that. So that's why if you are in prominent positions, don't think that you're going to be the big lonely Negro on top, and you ain't got to insulate yourself with folks who's going to help you and protect you, because you gotta genuinely like Black society. That's another thing too, because there's some people out here who they don't like being around Black folks, so they think I'm gonna get around these white people and they're gonna look out for me. And then when they throw you under the bus, y'all want to run around and then put on a kente cloth, and then you want to put on a do-rag. No, 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 no. You got to stump for the community. You got to speak up for Black people on a regular basis. We know the game that they play politically, but you change the game politically. You got to go in here and change the political landscape. We don't need no more flunkies. We don't need no more congressional Black caucus people, a bunch of do-nothings. And most of them are tethers, by the way. Most of them are tethers. All right. Now, the seventh thing we got to have media representation. We got to create more independent FBA-owned media platforms that can counter the narratives of the dominant society and their astroturf platforms like the Rollins. These are Democratic shills. And Rollins, he's not really a factor. But, our competition is like MSNBC, the big dogs. That is our competition. The Rollins, I'm just bringing him up. He's a non-factor. But the NBC, MSNBC, those are the ones that we got to keep an eye on, and we have to counter the narratives that they put out. Speaking of that, I want to read y'all a story from I think it was MSNBC. They put out a story and they kind of threw me under the bus. I'll read that in a minute. Don't let me forget. I'm going to read that in a minute, family. I just want to get through with my list of things that we got to get going. Number 8, what we need is some type of legal defense fund. See, what we need, you know what we need, family? We need a grassroots version of almost like an ADL for foundational Black Americans. The NAACP and the Urban League and all of that is supposed to be that for us. And they've been around before. NAACP was around before the ADL and all of that. But a lot of these Black organizations, some of these legacy organizations that's been around for a long time, they were established by white people. NAACP, that was a white established organization for the most part. So we've got to have a genuine grassroots legal defense fund organization that can have resources ready for Black people who are in trouble, black people who are in need, black people who need defense. Um, just like our good brother who was innocent, who got executed, you know, we needed our legal team. If we had a legal team to really stomp nonstop for that brother, that would have helped, I think. I think that, they got the Innocence Project and all of that, but we need an FBA legal defense fund so that situations like what happened to that brother, they just can't execute us all willy-nilly and do what they want to do within the legal system. This is why you always hear me talk about the need for black lawyers. Oh my God. And that's what we need. We need to have a legal defense fund so that we can go around the country scouting lawyers and just having lawyers on retainer, black lawyers ready to go. I mean, we need to get out here and really stomp on that. And it takes paper. Let's be real, because I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. I guess a lot of black lawyers don't want to work for free, and a lot of black folks want the hookup. Like, hey, come on, homie, do me this favor, whoop de whoop. No, people should be paid. People should be paid. If you're a black lawyer, you shouldn't be nickeled and dimed. You should be paid. And this is where a legal defense fund comes in, so that we'll have resources ready for black lawyers, and they can go ahead and get this bread and go ahead and do what they're supposed to do. All right. The ninth thing we got to do, and this ties in to the networking thing, we got to have cultural events. We got to host and promote events that celebrate foundation of Black American culture, from music festivals to historic commemorations. Um, these events, man, they should really educate the public on the contributions of foundational Black Americans. Cultural events are very important. This is why we have Aratasase events. We create our own foundational Black American holiday. Juneteenth events, that's beautiful. And we don't let people co-opt it. That's another thing with Juneteenth. We got that as a federal holiday, and that's a foundational Black American holiday. But what do they do with it? They always try to Pan-Africanize it. They always use Pan-African colors when referencing Juneteenth. And they have it in June, and they make June Pride Month. So then they try to tie the rainbow stuff into Juneteenth. So we got to stop letting folks do that, trying to tie everything into our cultural thing, you see. And that's why it's very important for us to gatekeep, gatekeep, gatekeep. Just like we did with microphone check. Microphone check was us gatekeeping the culture. We stopped people from talking that Puerto Ricans and other people started hip hop. We stopped them from saying that because it was a lie, and that's a part of ethnocide. And for the record, y'all got John Leguizamo. He's still out here. They got him up here running around. I think they got him doing a PBS series where he's talking about how Latinos built America and all of this stuff. So that's going to have to be counted too. We can cook up some documentaries debunking that stuff too. I'm down. We got to debunk all of this stuff. We got to debunk all of it, because they play this game. If there was a black person who kind of had a Spanish last name, they try to act like that was some kind of Latino accomplishment or whatever. They love playing that game. So that's a whole different ball game right there. And number 10, man, the most important thing is educating the next generation, man. These kids, these young people, we gotta create scenarios where we can incentivize them to get the knowledge. That's one thing that we did with the Hidden Colors series. We made that such a cultural fixation where young kids would go to the movie theaters to see that, and they were so excited because it was a glamorous thing. We made history and learning a glamorous thing. It was a fun thing. You go out, you go to the movies, you're with your friends, you're with your family, you're eating popcorn, you're eating candy, you're out there with other people who are excited. That's a vibe. Kids feed off that. We have to make our culture and our history and our empowerment appealing for younger people. And the Hidden Color series is a great example of that. Just put it in a way where it's entertaining and educational, and also get younger people and elevate them, especially the ones that's on the knowledge wave, those who are showing promise of good leadership skills. We got to create situations where we elevate them. Because what happens is you got a lot of the old Negroes who are in certain positions and they never want to give their positions up. They don't never want to put nobody on. They want to be the old head Negro in charge all the time. And it's okay to bring in other young folks, man. Bring in new energy. That's why when I do events like we do the Rally for Reparations, we get the young cats like Black Alpha, Afro Elite, some of these other young folks out here to really spit that hot fire, and others. We try to give them a platform for the next generation. Our good brother Riza Islam. We try to give those guys platforms. That's the next generation. And we need to get around and protect them and then elevate them and continue to encourage them to do the right thing. You dig? So we got to get very serious about making power moves, ladies and gentlemen.
Discover the heart of our history at the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles. Now open with new weekend hours, Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Located at 2131 West Jefferson Boulevard in Los Angeles. Our museum showcases the brilliance and ingenuity of foundational Black American culture, along with the richness of global Black culture. Come in, explore our displays, and shop for books, films, and other unique items that celebrate our legacy. Also, be sure to look out for our popular special events. For more information, visit hiddenhistorymuseum.com.